Hi guys, Lisa Edwards here of Exclusive Career Coaching, and I want to give you my top 5 networking tips today. And so some of these tips will be specific to one-on-one networking, where you have set up a meeting with someone, a colleague or a potential business connection, and others will be kind of how to behave and what to do in a group networking situation. I want to set the stage first by talking about active versus passive job search strategies. And if you've heard any of my podcasts before, or you've listened to any of these videos, you know kind of how I define this. So passive strategies are ones where you are not in the driver's seat of your own job search. You're in the passenger seat, you're along for the ride. You really have no control over when that vehicle leaves, where it goes, when it gets to its destination, or what destination it gets to. So passive strategies include things like job boards, company employment sites, having an online portfolio or an online website for people to come to. And to a certain degree, even like having a LinkedIn profile, if that's all you're doing is creating a LinkedIn profile and then walking away. Active strategies, on the other hand, put you in the driver's seat. So you get to decide where that vehicle goes, when it leaves, where it's going, when it gets there, all of that. Active strategies are all going to center around networking, and that's what I want to talk about today. So strategies where you are out meeting people, you're getting out from behind the computer, and you are having face-to-face or some other kind of intimate conversations with people or intimate interactions with them. So the first strategy that I want to give you is that you need to create a 15 to a 30-second elevator pitch about yourself. So I want you to think about what's that first little snippet of information that you want to let people know. Now, let's think about kind of the things that you want to take into consideration when creating this elevator pitch. How overt are you able to be about the fact that you're looking for a job? Are you able to say, for example, hi, I'm Jill Jones, and I'm a senior at XYZ University. My goal is to get an entry-level human resources position here in town, and my dream employer is really big company. Are you able to be that overt about what you're looking for, or are you currently employed and you want to bring it down a notch and maybe say something like, hi, I'm Bill Smith, I currently work at blah, 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 and kind of leave it at that and kind of take the temperature of the other person before you divulge anything further. So really you want to think about that. Now, notice that in that example with Jill Jones, I said, and my dream job is to work for a really big company. If you go to a specific event and your goal at that event, and I do want you to have goals when you attend networking events, if your goal at that event is to get a contact, a viable contact at really big company, then yeah, be overt about it. Speak it into existence. Say it. Maybe you don't have a specific company that you want to work for, but you just want to say, hey, I want an entry-level human resources position with a company here in town. That's fine too. My point is, if you have a dream company that you want to work for, and the particular networking event that you're at might be a really great opportunity to get that inside connection, then speak it into existence. Because if you don't, those people that you network with won't know that you want to work for a really big company, and they might have a great contact for you, but they wouldn't think to give it to you without you kind of asking for it. So develop a 15 to 30-second elevator pitch. Here's another example. Hi, I'm Steve Smith. I'm a business analyst at ABC Company. I'm currently looking for a management opportunity here in town with a company that has strong promote from within practices and a continuous learning culture. So I don't remember, I might have timed that at one point, but it's pretty short. It's definitely 15 seconds or less. And you've given them enough information to kind of start a conversation with you, but you haven't sort of lulled them into, they're half asleep because you've gone on for so long. So 15 to 30-second commercial. Practice that sucker in front of the mirror. Practice it with friends before you go out and try it in sort of the real world. So that 15 to 30-second elevator pitch is specific to kind of those group networking events. My second networking tip for you is the value of civic and professional organizations in networking. So I think that for many people, they're not necessarily opposed to the idea of networking, but they're a little confused as to where they can do that. Like, how does that happen? And they think that if it's not a job networking event, that it is not someplace that they can network at, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So I want you to think of things like Rotary, so civic organizations, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club. Also think about professional associations. The one that I always recommend my clients connect with is the Society for Human Resource Management, which is SHRM, S-H-R-M. And that is the leading organization of all of the HR people in, I think, the world, certainly the US. And if you want to connect with the people who are in positions to facilitate the hiring, they're not the, in many cases, they're not the decision makers on the hiring process, but they are facilitating the hiring process, then SHRM is a great meeting to go to. So you're going to need to find you somebody in your network who is a member of SHRM who will allow you to tag along with them to a meeting. And typically, at least in all the SHRM meetings I've been at, and I've been a member of SHRM before, any guests are allowed to get up and introduce themselves. So there you get to use your 30-second elevator pitch. So think also Chamber of Commerce meetings. So chambers of commerce across the country are organizations that are specifically designed to promote business in that community, to promote commerce. And so typically you're going to have business owners, chief executive officers, vice presidents, key HR people will often be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and those are the people that are going to go to these chamber networking events. So whether it's business after hours, that's what we have here in Tallahassee, maybe it's a breakfast every quarter or once a month or some sort of lunch meeting, and there may be kind of offshoots of the main group where it's a networking group for a specific kind of faction of the chamber. Check out your local chamber. If you live in a very big city, you may have multiple chambers in that area. There may also be, for example, here in Tallahassee, there's a minority chamber of commerce as well as the kind of the overall bigger chamber of commerce. So check that out and get yourself connected, see what you need to do. There may be a fee involved to attend, but I think it'll be a really good use of your money. So think about the civic and professional organizations in your community that maybe aren't specifically designed for job networking, but for which job networking would be very useful for you. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, again, has to do with those large meetings, those networking events. When you go to them, so let's just say it's not a sit-down meal. Let's say it's a stand-up networking event where maybe cocktails are involved. I want you to position yourself by either the food or the drink. There is an influx of people in those areas so that you can meet more people. I think what the natural tendency is when you, especially if you go by yourself and you're maybe not real comfortable with networking, is you want to kind of go stand in a corner and be as unobtrusive as possible. And the problem with that is twofold, at least. One is that you're not going to get that steady influx of people that you would in a more trafficked area, but also you might get monopolized in the corner by someone who is socially awkward and kind of wanting to hide out as well. So stay in the traffic flow, which is typically by the food or the drink, and you're going to have more people, more opportunities to network with people. Tip number 4 has to do with one-on-one networking meetings, as does tip number 5. So this is where you have scheduled a meeting with someone. It could be someone that you already know, someone who has been recommended to you through your existing network, but it's someone who is in a position to perhaps help you with your networking, with your job search goals. And so tip number 4 is, of that one-on-one, let's just say it's a 30-minute coffee date, I want you to make the first 20 minutes about them. I want you to ask them questions and really be present with that other individual. Don't be in your head about what you're going to ask when it's your turn. You have that down pat. Maybe you even have it written down on your Padfolio so that you don't have to think about yourself. You're thinking about this other person. What's going on for them at work? How can you add value to them today? What resource can you provide them? What person can you connect them to? What best practice can you recommend? Is there a book you just read that might help them with the problem that they're facing at work? So really ask them good questions to get them talking about what's up for them at work, what challenges they're facing, what hurdles or obstacles they're having to overcome, and see how you can add value. The beauty in doing that and making the meeting most about them is that they're going to be more than willing to help you when it's your time. But also, I think for most of us, we don't want to feel like a networking barnacle. And that's the term that I use when you feel like you're just asking people to help you and you're not giving anything in return. This way, it's more of an equal exchange of energy, which for most of us feels much better energetically than to be taking. When it is your turn for your 10 minutes, that last 10 minutes of the 30-minute coffee date, my tip number 5 is to have a specific ask. So you may have heard that vague results or vague requests lead to vague results. And that's really what we're talking about here. So get very specific. And this really gets back to doing your homework ahead of time. Getting on LinkedIn with that person before you ever ask them to meet with you, knowing that they have a contact, a resource, something very valuable to provide you. You've looked on their LinkedIn profile, you've seen who they're connected to, you see where they work, you see what department they work in, and for all of those reasons, you believe this person can be a very viable contact for you. And so instead of doing the thing that most people do, hey, I'm looking for a job, if you think of anything, let me know, blah, blah, goes in one ear and out the other. It's not that the other person isn't willing to help you, it's that you haven't really given them a way in which to help you. So what you're going to say is something like, well, I see from looking on your LinkedIn profile that you're connected with Lisa Smith. How well do you know her? Oh, I know Lisa very well. We work in the same department. Well, you know, Lisa could be very beneficial to me in my job search, and tell her a little bit about how you think Lisa might be able to help you. And then you say, would you be willing to make an email introduction for me and Lisa? Or would you be willing to put in a good word for me with Lisa? Whatever it is that you would ask this person to do. So you're asking them for a specific action on a specific person. Now, that is not to say that something else might come up. This person might say, oh, Lisa would be great, but I know who would be even better for you. So there needs to be that openness during this conversation for things to go in a different direction than you had a thought, but you do have an agenda in mind, you do have a plan, you do have a specific ask. The other reason that that specific request is so beneficial to you is that you now have something very specific to follow up on tomorrow or this afternoon or whenever, within 24 hours. Hey, really enjoyed meeting with you. I'm so excited to meet Lisa Smith. I look forward to your email introduction. So you're just jogging their memory as to what they agreed to do. And because you've asked for something specific, you have that specific way that you can follow up. So I hope these 5 networking tips were helpful for you. If you want to learn more about my teaching, I encourage you to check me out at The Exclusive Career Coach. That's my podcast. As of this recording, I have over 80 episodes out there on all things career management. So not just the job search. We also talk about how to get started in the first 90 days on the job, how to manage your relationship with your peers and your boss, how to become a leader, how to ask for an internal promotion, how to decide whether to stay or to go. All those kinds of things in the Exclusive Career Coach. So check it out wherever you get your podcast. I also encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn at Lisa Edwards, and that's L-E-S-A, Edwards. I promise I'm most likely the first Lisa Edwards that will come up when you put the spelling in correctly. And if you want to check me out on Instagram, it's lesa.edwards, or you can check me out on Facebook at Exclusive Career Coaching. If you'd like to take this deeper, I would love to have a 30-minute consult call with you. There's no charge, and I promise I'm going to give you at least 2 really great tips to take your job search or your career management to the next level. So whether we work together or further or not, I want to make sure that 30 minutes is worth your time. And if I believe that I can help you further working together, I will let you know what that looks like. So if you want to check that out, I have a URL so you can get on my online calendar. It's www.timetrade.com/book/D, the letter D, the number 6, the letters KLN. That URL again is www.timetrade.com/book/D6KLN. Hope to see you soon. Take care.